welcome to Keyhole Conversations. We're finishing up Poetry Month with, some of our own stuff. We've already done the good stuff, so now we're doing ours. And so I'm here with Bonnie today, and have you got anything to say about your poem, Bonnie?
Well, I guess I have a secret. The poem was about my really good friend who died. His name was Bootsy. He's my cat, and he would always come to meet me every morning, and he would have coffee with me. While I drank my coffee, he sat on my lap and smelled it. So I was really down when I had to put him away. He just was incurably ill. But like I said, I never write poetry unless I'm really happy or really sad, and I was really sad when I lost my cat. His soul comes to me at night and walks through my dreams, lest I forget him. But how can I, when soft, deep love shines like lamplight in his almond eyes to warm my dreams? He was my one true love. Lonely footsteps echo in the rooms. The hours pass slowly while I wait for his return at night, a whisper in my dreams. Until my soul has healed and he can rest, then he will come no more to me. He was my one true love.
Hi, well, I'm going to be reading 3 or 4 poems today. I'm not sure which. We'll just see as we go along. The first one, The Swing, is a memory from my childhood and the way I spent most of my time. From the first day that was almost warm until school start, when shoes went on, my bare feet, wincing from sharp stones, crossed the drive to the circle of earth beneath the elm where no grass grew. My hand seized the dangling rope, and clutching it, I ran until I reached its end, drew up my feet, let my body swing, a pendulum. On forward swings, I pumped my legs, then at the peak, I pointed toes to touch the sky. Back I swooped, nearly brushed the earth, and up again, and back and forth. The swing carried me to other lands, my magic carpet to adventures grand. I was Robin Hood in Sherwood Forest, Tarzan meeting the jungle's test. Then Grandma's voice called me back. Come inside, it's time for supper. My feet came down, landing gear, skidding in dry dirt. The house, the swing, the tree are gone. In the circle of earth, the grass has grown. But every spring, on the first day that is almost warm, I stop to gaze at a new budded elm, and I am back where I was then, in barefoot weather when I was 10. You might have noticed that my grandmother was the one who called me in the house, not my mother. I lived with her until she died when I was 11, and she always said that when she died, she believed in an afterlife, and that she would be sure to be watching over me and protecting me. So this next poem is called Coming Back, about how I felt about that particular promise. I wouldn't leave you alone, Grandma would say as she braided my hair. I'd come back to watch over you. I knew she wasn't talking about coming back from Wichita or someplace like that, and I believe she meant it as a comfort. I was 11 when she died, old enough that during the day I convinced myself ghosts did not exist, young enough that for months I slept with the covers pulled tight above my head to keep from seeing shadows in the night. The next poem was written when I was considerably older. When I was about 21, I started getting like a gray streak in my hair, and by the time I was 40, I was using color, but as you can see, I gave that up. But there was a while there where I was vain enough for color, and so this poem is about that time, and it's called My Roots Are Showing. My roots are showing, I tell the receptionist at the beauty shop, and she tells me it will be about 15 minutes. But she doesn't count on the teenage boy ahead of me with his shaved sides and long mane down the middle of his head and his fraction of an inch consultations with his mother. 30 minutes later, the dissatisfied boy begrudgingly gives up the chair. It's my turn. For the first time, I see the beautician close up. She has a pierced eyebrow. I cringe, feeling the pain she obviously doesn't, and tell her my roots are showing. She brushes in the color, then leaves, returns with a middle-aged man, and I'm sitting there with my hair standing on end and color smudges on my forehead, looking like the hostess of a late-night horror movie, but it's what I have to do when my roots are showing. He takes the chair next to mine. Male pattern baldness has left him with a few strands on top and a ring around the edges. Half an hour later, it's time to pull through my color, and the beautician is still snipping this guy's hair one wisp at a time, and I long for the days when a man wouldn't be caught dead in a beauty shop. But my roots are showing. This final one is a prose poem, and it's about naming things. You remember that Shakespeare said a rose by any other name is still a rose? Well, we'll see. This is called Rose, a Person of Interest. On the day they were married, Rose, in all her wedding glory, kissed Fred, her prince, and he turned into a frog. Since the post office refused to keep pond life on the payroll, Rose became the breadwinner. Not only did Rose have to provide daily bread for herself, she had to provide Fred with his daily ration of live insects. Meanwhile, Fred became so depressed about his green skin that he went to a therapist who said the problem started when he was just a pollywog, a state he couldn't ever remember being. To pay for the therapist, Rose took on a second job. She could barely remember her pre-marriage life of parties and long talks with friends. No one cared about her anymore. Whenever anyone did call, it was always Fred and his progress, or lack of it. That was the subject of conversation. With the therapist's help, Fred concluded his mother, an evil queen who had always regretted his existence, had cast a spell on him that made him a prince before he was a frog. This made him distrust all women. He became further depressed and took up refuge in the bathtub. The effort of getting Fred out of the tub so she could shower before work moved Rose from irritation to rage. An anonymous caller told the police Fred was dead in the tub. The police are looking for Rose, a person of interest. And that's it. Do you want to say a few words to the folks?
So good. I mess things up. Go ahead. You never get a chance. This is going to be in the bloopers?
Probably in the bloopers. All right. Well, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed our poems, and we'll be back in May, hopefully, with some pitches from the OWFI writing conference, and if not that, we'll think of something else. So for today, that's it for Keyhole Conversations.
Thank you for joining us.